Hi everyone. Now what I'm going to be doing here is just a bit of fun. Now it's all round about I found this feather along the river, along the bank. Now I think this I think it came off a heron. Now as you can see it's black and white obviously. It's natural black and obviously white. Now I washed it, gave it a good clean and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie this fly with it now. Now the other thing I've done as well is that I've got these hooks here. Now these are, I don't know what they're for really. The actual shank in the bend is very good. It's a lovely style. It's basically a classic like style hook, single hook that was used in classic flies. What I've done here, as you can see, I've actually my fingers are still a wee bit dirty from it, but I basically broke off the eye and then I've tapered it down slightly at the point, but then I've turned it black. Now to get it black, all I've done is sat it on the cooker, just it turned black, and there we are, a nice dark hook. So it's went from a bronze to a black. So basically just using it up. Now this is equivalent to a 7/0, so quite a large hook. So it's basically round about the feather that I'm going to use obviously to tie it. Now there's a couple of feathers, there's a teal feather at the front, so, and then obviously the wing. But I'm going to tie it, I'm just going to basically tie a fly. The other thing I've done is I make my own substitute gut. This is twisted nylon. What I'll do is I'll put a link in the description below the video, you'll see it under more info, how to actually do this, and it's quite easy really. So, because gut can be quite expensive, but the actual normal stuff, it's really makes sense to make your own. Now the first thing I usually do, and this was not me that invented this idea, now to protect the old hooks, and what you would do, you would basically, I've got some wax, old wax on my finger, and you basically just wax the shank. Now that obviously does grip, gives you grip, but at the same time it protects the wire, it stops, it basically makes it waterproof. For so long anyway, should be the life of the fly. So there we go, so that's the wax on it, it's nice and tacky. Now to get the gut, first thing I do, I'm just using normal black thread. I'm going to start it say about a couple of mil from the end of the hook. And I'm just going to quickly down, so far, and come back up. Now this will hold the gut, will hold this nylon, twisted nylon. Even if you wanted to fish it. So I'm going to bring it back up. I'm going to form the eye, because the eye was formed by the old gut. I'm just going to leave, this is where it's been twisted, so I'm just going to leave that on. You want a reasonable eye, so just catch that in. Now obviously the wax on the hook and the thread is giving it plenty of grip. Now it's tied underneath, I'm going to show you what it looks like. There we are. Now what I'm going to do here is I want it to taper towards the point of the hook. So I'm getting my scissors here. Now these are the loops that I basically put on a wee machine, which you'll see in the video that I'll link below. And this helps to twist the nylon, so we take them away, but what you do is cut them at an angle. So I'm basically halfway down, and then I want to cut these at an angle as well towards the point of the hook. So you want to trim it towards the point of the hook. So you imagine where the point of the hook would be, just cut. And then what we do is we keep it underneath, winding down, keeping it nice and tight. Just controlling the thread as you wind down. It's a big hook, so it's then bounce about a bit. And as you wind down, it should taper all the way. Show you where it goes to it. You'll see how the nylon is starting to taper out. And the plan is to end up, so when I let the hook or let the thread go, you should be close to the point of the hook. And there we are. So you're forming like a taper or tying it, so as you can see. Now the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to form the tag. Now I'm using this is a thin tinsel. It's a normal tinsel. Now the tag of the fly, and I'm going to work from the barb of the hook to the point. So basically I'm going to catch this in, and the way down. Now, it's not so much the way down, I'm going to bring it to the point where I want the body to start, and then I'm going to wind the tinsel. Basically one turn in front of the other, basically I'm in line with the barb of the hook, which is there, and then I'm going to come back up. Not overlapping the tinsel, but one turn in front of the other and winding up. Nice and tight. And then catching this in. And there we are. Now we trim that away. Now what my plan is basically, I want basically this to taper up onto the tapered, well, obviously as I've trimmed away the substitute gut, then it's going to naturally taper up onto that. So then I'm going to come back down and I'm going to wind onto the tinsel just to that point there, around about there, where I feel it should be. It's a personal thing where how far you want to go down, but on the D style flies they had a nice good length in the tag, so as I say, I'm going to come down to suit myself. And there's a bit there. I mean, I'm tying around the style of the hook as well. Now the tail is the rump feather from a golden pheasant. So I'm taking away the fluff. I'm going to tie the whole feather in. Now it has a notch. I usually just roll the feather with my fingers like this. And you'll see how you'll get a natural kind of curve. I want the curve to come up and away from the fly. So basically when you roll it like that, what it does, it puts the fibres on top. Length is, again, it's entirely up to you, but you can only get so long with these feathers. Just tie this on the top, just give it a wee flick just to see how it's going to sit. That's fine, I'll do it. And again, you can help to use this to the point where it's tapered, so you're encouraging the taper of the fly. So we can make sure this is tied in. Now the rib of the fly, I'm going to rib it using this is a twisted tinsel. It's much like it's the same like a twist you'd get in the gut itself. So I'm going to offer it to the underside and wind down, but I'm going to open out, take the twists out, so it helps to flatten it, tie it in. So you just basically take the twist out. Here, should be fine. Then what I'm going to do, I'm going to tie in my tinsel. Now this is a heavy tinsel. Sorry, I picked the wrong one up. This one here, this is really heavy stuff. This is old tinsel. It's got a bit of tarnish in it, which I want to keep. Just adds to the edge of the fly. Now what I'm going to do here is cut a taper into it, so it helps to taper, and when you tie it on it will straighten up. So the taper is usually, to get it to taper onto the fly, you can't, there's a couple of ways. I prefer just to catch it on the side with a tapered cut facing myself. Just catch it on the side, and again I make sure this is tied in. Nice and tight, right up against the tail. Now the feather I'm going to be tying the full length, I'm going to work it all the way up, even if I end up with some of the fluff at the top. Now I'm going to take away most of it at the base. I'm just going to use my fingers. As I say, I would have preferred it to be completely black, but anyway, can't be fussy when we're finding feathers. So we catch this on the top, and I'm seeing it with the natural, or the front of the feather. And again, I'm just going to quickly run my fingers up, come back down, making sure it's tied in. Now the body's half yellow and half claret. Now this here basically is a mix of seal's fur and pig's wool, especially the fine fibre. A boar, wild boar. Well, it is a pig, type of pig. and seals fur blended together in a nice golden yellow colour. Now I'm just going to take it up a wee bit and I'm going to work to the feather, stretching it out. I want to try and keep it thin. Now you could have used the yellow thread to help encourage with the yellow, but I can cover this up, no problem. Just darkens it down a wee bit using the dark or the black thread. Just work your way up. Now it's half and half, so we went halfway up. Just watch your feather. It's quite easy to catch it, so just check and see what it looks like. It's fine. This is only for show. I'll tie it as good as I can to suit like it's going to be fished. And it shouldn't actually taper as you wind up, just because of the way you've tied in the materials. Pig's wool, it does cover really quick, especially good in big flies. And it's very translucent, it's very shiny. So we just keep going till we get halfway. We're basically at the halfway mark here. That'll do it. Now I've got this. This is an old claret colour. You can see it's really. This is just basically seals fur. This here is an old packet that I found quite a few years ago, and it's actually more like the old colours. The claret. It's quite nice. So we just work up. Yeah, it feeds on quite easy, this. It's a big fly, this, to tie. So just keep working away. Now I haven't selected the wing yet. There's a couple of wings there. I'm going to have to look at my turkey. I have a couple of nice feathers. You wind this up to. Well, it's like a learning process as much for myself. I've got to look at the room I've got up here. I don't want to get too close to the eye. I want to be able to wind. I've got a teal feather I want to wind on, and obviously I want to taper off with the larger feather just at the tip. And I might even use, I'm quite happy to use some of the fluff or some of the finer fibre. It's very, in a lot of the eagle patterns, this Heron absolutely moves really well in the water. So anyway, the first thing I'm going to do, I'm going to wind up the tinsel. Actually, take the tinsel up, same way I'm winding. My thread on. It's 3, 4, oops, 5. Struck all the fibres back. And then going forward, just draw them back with your fingers and tie them down. See how it looks. It's a nice body. Now, what I'm going to do now is I'll take away this. I'm using this in old scissors, so I don't mind cutting this heavy tinsel with this. Nice straight cut. Now it's important that you wax your thread, and then what you could easily cut your thread onto that tinsel. Now this Heron feather I'm actually going to wind towards myself, and then I'm going to obviously bring the rib up through the twisted rib. Now I'm just winding up between each turn of the silver rib and onto the body and see how it goes. Now you could reduce the bulk of this feather. Now what you've got to watch is making sure that you've got enough feather to get all the way up. So sometimes I have to go back and stretch out even more so that I can reach the top. Now that's what you did back, I mean people just used what they had to. I'm just going to quick look to see what it's like. Keep it nice and tight. Just make sure you get 2 or 3 turns in there before you let go. Now I actually prefer the feather to be sitting really up. The feather's slightly twisted as it wound up, but it doesn't bother me that. And now what I'm going to do is bring up a silver twisted tinsel. That first turn, I'm just going to make sure I'm behind, when I'm winding up, I'm actually behind the silver. So just catch it in, just watch how you go. I mean, just be careful, you can just run up as quick as you can and it will work. But I'm just taking my time because I want to be making this as good as I can. Just following the tinsel around, it's a big fly, as I say. And I'm tying it just because I found the feather, and I'll be giving it away, as I say. And somebody can do whatever they wish with it, they could fish with it if they want, it'll be fine. Just get to the top here, just catch it in. Because we're winding with the same way I wind the thread, and it's cross ribbing the actual heron, the heron feather. I'm seeing where I am, just make sure I catch that on the side, and I'm happy now I can trim away the waste of the feather. You have to be brave times when you're tying these flies. Then I've got my teal feather. So I'm going to tie this in. Just going to tie it in by the tip. Trim away the tip. Just the best of the feathers are actually there. Just come round. Just a wee quick look. See, I mean, try it, see what it's like with a single turn. 2 turns probably with this one. I'm just going to take away some of the fibre on this side. That's fine, that's what I like. And make sure you tie it down. Trim away. Make sure that's secure. Now, I've looked through some of the feathers I have, and I mean, like, feathers is quite hard to find. These are some turkey feathers I had. Now I'm looking at these this side. I need a right. Basically, what I need here is a right and a left side, and obviously much the same colour. This side here is close to this one, so it's just slightly white tip here, and you don't want too wide. No, you don't want it. You want the feather as long as you can towards the back of the hook. So you do. Just looking at the length there. And then I'm going to pick this side, just looking at the black area. Now I might come further up here, so I'm just using my scissors to separate it, as you can see. That's fine, I'll do that, I'll use this bit. So I'm just going to come in. As I say, it's just, see how we go. Now the way these wings are tied on, they're tied basically upside down, so they curve away. It's just the way, the style they were tied. I've tied them always over the years. They're just tied to suit the fibre I've got. I'm just going to line them up. There we are. Just, what did I say, we're having them where you would normally tie them so the tips are tapered at the top. Like, you're having these the opposite way, and you want it right towards the back of the fly. They are usually just come out over with a couple of turns. Well, 3 turns there. Nothing special, just to hold, using the bobbin holder to hold it. And looking at the length, and see what I could use in the feather first. And just have a wee bit look at the back. I would tend to have it a wee bit longer than that, so I'm going to do it again. So I'm going to go back and then try and use it to get as close to these ends as I can. Now, as I say, I'm just putting a couple of weighted other turns over. Weighted the bobbins holding it, I'm not doing anything special. I'm not pinching the loop or doing anything. Just leaving it, just checking the length. Now that's as far as I'll probably get with these feathers. Now once I'm happy then, and the feathers are sitting fine, I just tighten up. Don't know if you can see, I'm just checking the length. And that's fine. And when I'm happy with that, then I just come in, trim away. Just take your time. Now see if you come up to the wing and you want to lower it, just, these are tight but not pulling into it, meaning to lift the wing. You can pull the wing slightly down, you can use the thread to do that. As long as you're tight down here, your fly will be fine. See how it's looking. Happy with that, then I can flip finish. Oops, that slipped, sorry about that. I'm just dressing I'm just going down with the whip finish, you can do that, just tidying things up. I'm using it a couple of coats, a clear varnish, or even a single coat would be fine, but then I would use black varnish to immediately darken the head right down. Just a bit of fun. So I hope you enjoyed that, and thanks for watching.